9, 16, and 25. Okay, so those are just our y values. When we plug in -5, we come out with 25 and so on. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the differences. So, 25, what do we have to subtract to get 16? We subtract 9. 16 to 9, we subtract 7. 9 to 4, we subtract 5. 4 to 1, we subtract 3. 1 to 0, we subtract 1. 0 to 1, I add 1. 1 to 4, I add 3. 4 to 9, I add 5. 9 to 16, I add 7. And then I add 9. So my second differences are all 2. And I know I've done enough differences when they're all the same. I know to find the a value, the number in front of x squared, for x squared, I do to find a equals 2 divided by 2, or my second difference divided by 2. And I'm going to get 1. Maybe we should get the packet from yesterday for this. Brett, maybe we should get the packet from yesterday. We could break part of this stuff down. Okay, so we're looking at x to the third. Usually have -125, -64, -27, -8, -1, 0, 1, 8, 27, 64, and 125. Okay. How many differences do you think we're going to have to get since it's to the third power? 3, because it's to the third power. So let's look first. We've got our first differences. 125 to 61 to 64 is 61 that we added to it. 64 to 27 is 37 we added to it. 27 to 8 is 19. -1 to 0 is, we're adding 1. Did I skip one? Oh, -8 to 1 is 7. 1, 0 to 1 is 1. 7, 19, 37, and 61. Okay, now I have to do another one because I have to do my second differences. I'm going to get 24. I'm going to get 18. I'm going to get 12, 6, 0, 6, 12, 18, and 24. Okay, those aren't all the same, so I know I have to keep going. Let's look at the third differences. We're pretty sure that's where we need to stop. We get 6, 6, 6, all the way down. Keep going. All right. With the third differences, we're going to have to divide by 6. So a equals 6 divided by 6. Okay? So if we're looking at x cubed and we want to find the a value, we always have to divide by 6. All right, this is going to disappear in just a second, so make sure you have it copied down, please. Or at least somebody in your group is copying it down, because it is going to disappear when I move down. Okay. We're going to go to x to the fourth. So how many differences are we going to have? 4, yeah? So we get 625, 256, 81, 16, 1, 0, 1, 16, 81, 256, and 625. Okay, now we're going to do the first differences. All right, 625 to 256 is negative 369. Okay, 256 to 81 is negative 175. 81 to 16 is negative 65. 16 to 1 is negative 15. 1 to 0 is negative 1. 0 to 1 is 1. 1 to 16 is 15. 16 to 81 is 65. 81 to 256 is 175. And finally we get 369. Okay. Now we have to do our second, that's our first difference, our second difference. I'm going to move out of the way in a second, honey, but I have to stand in front of it in order to write on it. We get 194, then we get 110, we get 50, we get 14, 0, 14, 50, 110, 194. Okay, now we do our third differences. Remember, we're going to have to do how many, we think? 4, because it's to the 4th power. I get 84, 60, 36, 14, 14, 36, 60, and 84. And we know, sorry guys, I didn't put this up here. We know these are negatives. We know these are negatives. Okay, last one. Our fourth differences are all 24. Okay? So, anybody want me to repeat any of this? Because I know it's kind of hard to see because my numbers are small. Do you want me to do the first, second, third, or fourth differences? Or are you guys good? Okay, please speak up if you're confused. Okay, let's do, so what are we going to have to divide by to get A for the fourth differences? We know 24 divided by 24 gives us 1. So we do the fourth differences divided by 24, and that will always give us the A value. I'm confused why some of you aren't copying this down. All right. For the fifth difference, I get negative, oh, excuse me. I'm going to have to find fifth differences, but this is the Y values for these X values. For number negative 5, I get negative 3,125. For negative 4, I get negative 1,024. For negative 3, I get negative 243. Negative 2, I get negative 32. Negative 1, I get negative 1. 0, I get 0. 1, I get 1. 2, I get 32. 3, I get 243. 4, I get 1,029. And 5, I get 3,125. Okay, this is to the 5th power. How many differences do we think? 5, I've said it before. Okay, so the first difference between here is 2,101. The first difference between these two is 781. First difference between these two is 211. First difference between these two is 31. Okay, these are all negative. Difference between 0 and 1 is 1. 0 and 1 is 1. Then we have 31, 211, 781, and 2,101. So now let's go to the second difference. between these is 132. Negative. Between negative 78, positive. Between 780 and 211. Oh, I'm sorry, 1,320. Between 78 and 211 is 570. Between 211 and 31 is 180. Between 31 and 1 is 30. 1 and negative 1 is 2. 1 and 31 is 30. 31 to 211 is 180. 211 to 780 is 570. And 2,101 is 1320. We do get the pattern right. The ones on top are the same as the ones on the bottom. All right, that's my first difference. My second difference, I've got to do my third difference. My third difference between these is 744. Then I've got 340, 150, between 2 and 30 is 28, 28, 150, 340, and 744. So I've got to do 2 more. This is my fourth difference. I get 345, or 54, excuse me. I get 240, 120, 0, 120, 240, and 354. And then the difference, my fifth difference, they're all 120. So I know 120 divided by 120, so anything to the 5th power, I divide it by 120. Okay, I'm going to leave these up there for a few minutes. While they're up there, though, I'm going to talk to you about your group question sheet. How did all the graphs compare to each other? What do you guys have down? Anybody? Yes?
Well, they're all.
The powers are evens for 2 of them, and they're odds for the other ones. They all cross at what point? Every single graph on here crosses the x-axis at what point? 0. Okay. Even powers are symmetric. Odds are not. Okay, the general form of any kind of function can be written as f of x equals ax to the p, where a and p are constant. What effects does the value of p in the graph have and why? Well, we know if it's an even power, it's symmetric. If it's odd, it's symmetric and reflected, or like opposites of each other. Austin and Tyler, sit up, please. What effect does the a value have on a graph? We've talked about this entire time. What does the a value affect the graph? The a value, talks about if the graph is wider, skinnier, or if it's negative, it's reflected over. Where do the a values show up on the graphs? So if the a value for, let's look at x to the 5th. The a value is 1. Where did it show up on the graph when it was 1? Okay. How do we explain this placement? When we times something by 1, we get what's in front of the a value. What do you think? If the a value had been 2 for those, do you think you'd get 2 when x is 1? Did the difference in the table seem to relate to either of the constants in the equation? The difference is you can find the a value from all the differences. If you're looking at x squared, it's the second difference divided by 2. X cubed, it's the second difference divided by 6. X to the 4th, it's the 4th difference divided by 24. And x to the 5th is the 5th difference divided by 120. Okay, so if you did not finish all of this, if you did not finish your differences or your group questions, please make sure your group questions and all your stations are filled out. You can get your credit back for it. Otherwise, you're going to keep what you had when you came in.